Hi dear students, in the last class we had seen the conversation between Salarino and Salanio, and from their conversation we came to know that Bassanio and Graciano, they went to Belmont, and Jessica and Lorenzo, both of them, they were not there on the ship on which Bassanio and Graciano went to Belmont. And then Salanio speaks about the outburst of anger of Shiloh, and he was crying for his daughter, decades, money and the jewels. And today we will see the rest of the scene. Take page number 74. Salanio. Let good Antonio look he keep his day, or he shall pay for this. And in the introduction already we discussed that the elopement of Jessica and her theft of gold and jewels, that intensifies Shylock's hatred for Christians and revenge against Antonio. That is why Salanio here says, let good Antonio look he keep his day. The meaning is that let Antonio make the payment on the appointed day. So here you have to remember the bond story. What is the appointed day? In the bond, what is mentioned? 3,000 decades for 3 months. So Antonio must pay these 3,000 decades before 3 months. That exact day itself he has to pay. That is why Salanio says that let him make the payment on the appointed day. Otherwise what will happen? Otherwise he may have to pay for his default. And what is the punishment mentioned there in the bond story? If Antonio fails to repay the amount on time, then Shylock can cut 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body, which pleases Shylock. So that is the thing Salanio says. Let Antonio pay the money on the exact day. Otherwise, Shylock may take revenge against Antonio without any mercy. Why? Because the hatred towards Christians and Antonio intensified after the elopement of Jessica with a Christian boy. Then Salanio says to Salanio, Mary, well remembered, O God, O Virgin Mary, now I remember, you remind me about something. What is that? I reasoned with a Frenchman yesterday. I reasoned means talked. I talked with a Frenchman yesterday, and he said, who told me? He said, in the narrow seas that part the French and English, there miscarried a vessel of our country, richly fought. A narrow seas means a narrow sea channel, the English channel between England and French. There miscarried or wrecked or damaged. A vessel meaning is ship of our country, richly fought with expensive goods or expensive cargo. So the Frenchman told Salarino that in the narrow seas or the narrow channels between England and French, there he found a ship of our country with expensive goods, and that is wrecked or damaged. The Frenchman said that he found a ship in the channels between England and France, and it was having expensive cargoes and goods, and that ship was of our country and it was damaged. And then Salarino continues, I thought upon Antonio when he told me, and wished in silence that it were not his. When Frenchmen told about this, then Salarino thought about Antonio and Antonio's ship, and he wished in silence that it were not of Antonio's ship. And if it is Antonio's ship, what will happen? Then Antonio may not be able to pay back the amount to Shylock. And if he fails to pay the amount, then what will happen? Shylock will take revenge against Antonio without any mercy. So Salarino says, in the previous day or yesterday, he met a Frenchman. The Frenchman told about a ship with expensive goods and it had damaged, and that ship was of our country. Then Salarino feels that it is not of Antonio's ship. Then Salarino says, you were best to tell Antonio what you hear, yet do not suddenly, for it may grieve him. It is better that you should tell about this to Antonio. You have to tell these things to Antonio about the shipwreck and everything. But Salanio made a condition. Yet do not suddenly, for it may grieve him. Don't say about this all over a sudden, but you take time and then tell to Antonio. Otherwise, it may make Antonio very sad. And then Salarino says about Antonio and his depart with Bassanio. A kinder gentleman treads not the earth. According to Salarino, Antonio is a generous person. Kinder gentleman means a generous person or a kind person. There has not been a more generous man walking on the earth than Antonio. According to Salarino, Antonio is the generous man. And a gentleman more generous than Antonio is not there on the earth. And according to Salarino, Antonio is the generous person or the more generous person on the earth. And then he says, I saw Bassanio and Antonio depart from each other, separate from each other. So Salarino saw how Bassanio and Antonio separated from each other because Bassanio went to Belmont. That time, the separation Salarino saw. Bassanio told him he would make some speed of his return. Bassanio told that he would hurry so that he can come back early as possible. So Bassanio said that he would hurry up so as to come back or return as soon as possible. So he will do all the things very fast there in Belmont and he will come back as soon as possible. Bassanio told to or promised to Antonio. And what was the response from Antonio? He said or he answered, do not so. Antonio said that do not hurry up. Slumber not business for my sake. He says that don't hurry up, and slumber not means do not spoil or do not rush, and you do not spoil your business for my sake. For me, you should not spoil your business. And what is the business of Bassanio there in Belmont? To marry Portia. So Antonio says that do not spoil your attempt to marry Portia for my sake, but you have to do the things very perfect manner and you should not hurry up. And then he says, but stay the very ripening of the time. You should wait till the appropriate time comes, or you should wait till you achieve your objective. And what is the objective of Bassanio here? To marry Portia. So in a way, so when Bassanio says that I will come back as soon as possible, then Antonio says that do not hurry up and you are not supposed to spoil your business for my sake, but you have to wait for the appropriate time and you should attain your objective and you should wait till you achieve your objective of marrying Portia. And then Antonio continued that, and for the Jews born which he hath of me, let it not enter in your mind of love. The bond it is between me and Shiloh, and that should not interfere your love suit or your display of love. The right side, the meaning it is given. Do not let it interfere with your schemes of love or display of love. What? The bond between me and Shiloh, that we will manage, and that bond should not interfere your display of love in Belmont. And then he continues, be merry and employ your chiefest thoughts to courtship and such fair ostenance of love as shall conveniently become you there. The meaning it is given, be cheerful or be happy, and let your thoughts be mainly directed to your love suit, and employ your chiefest thoughts to courtship. The meaning is that let your thoughts be mainly directed to your love suit, and then to making fair displays of love as shall be suitable and which give you credit there. Ostenance means displays. And do not worry about the bond here. And what you have to do is that you have to be happy and you should display your love suit and your love towards your love towards Portia so that will bring credit to you and you may be able to marry Portia. So this is the thing said by Antonio to Bassanio at the time of departure, and then Salarino speaks about the departure or the separation of Antonio and Bassanio. And even there, his eyes being big with tears. Antonio's eyes, they were filled with tears, turning his face. He turned his face from Bassanio and he extended his hand on Bassanio's back. And with affection, wondrous sensible. Wondrous sensible means wonderfully tender. With a tender affection, he wrung Bassanio's hand. Wrung means clasped or held. He held the hand of Bassanio, and so they parted or separated from each other. So that is how Bassanio and Antonio separated from each other. Then Salarino speaks, and then Salarino says, I think he only loves the world for him. I pray thee, let us go and find him out, and quicken his embarrassed heaviness with some delight or other. I think he loves the world only for the sake of Bassanio. So according to Salarino, Antonio loves the world only for the sake of Bassanio, and he says to Salarino, I request you, now we have to go and find out Antonio. For what purpose? And quicken his embarrassed heaviness. He is filled with sadness and grievousness, and with delay or amusement we have to divert his sadness and grievousness. Now Bassanio is not there with Antonio, so Antonio is very sad, so we have to go and find out Antonio so that with some amusement and joke we can divert the thoughts of Antonio and make him happy. Salarino then says, do we so? Let us do so. So that is the end of Act 2, Scene 8. I hope that it is clear to you. So from this scene we understood that the elopement of Jessica and Lorenzo, and Shylock realizes about the elopement of Jessica and Lorenzo and the missing of his jewels, decades and stones, and it intensifies his revenge towards Christians and Antonio. From the same scene itself we come to know about a shipwreck, and we do not know whether that shipwreck happened to Antonio's ship or not. And then from the words of Salarino and Salarino we come to know about Antonio's love for Bassanio. Hope that it is clear to you. If there is any doubt, contact me. Thank you. Have a nice day.